guests and counterparts take on most of that. You guys hear it? Like in my voice?
I can hear it. I got you.
What happened?
Leo Kane's got you. So does Adam Talley. We're all practicing social distancing right now.
I think, honestly, it's, we've been in the middle of demoing a place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've spent a lot of time there this week. And I think being in there definitely.
Well, and it's the pollen's out right now.
And
so
I'm allergic
you're
to
outside
everything in the environment.
It's dust and, yeah.
I get allergy shots today, so maybe it'll be better when I leave there. We'll see.
Wait, you found a doctor that's open?
I can't believe it, but they are. Keep
Telehealth.
waiting. Yeah.
The virtual shot. What do you have to do? 3D printer yourself?
No,
reagents?
actually, I'm on the maintenance part of my shots because I've been on them for so long that I can actually take them and give them to myself, but I don't really want to do that.
Oh, yikes. Yeah.
So,
That's a little something like right here right in the arm.
Bring it on Friday mornings. You guys will do it, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're glad to doctor me up.
I've got 1,000 gloves in my car, so that works.
Good. I'm going to need a pair because my husband stole my other car that I was going to take today, and I've got appointments and properties. And we're, all masked and gloved up.
1,000 gloves for inspectors and such?
Well, no, each inspector has their own box of 500, but I have 1,000 in my car for some odd reason.
I just need a pair, and we'll be getting more Sunday.
Well,
So.
I'll lend you a pair. Speaking of which, how does this safe-at-home mandatory thing impact the real estate industry?
I'm glad you asked because a lot of questions that we're getting right now is, are you guys considered essential services? And we are. Real estate is considered an essential service. It falls under the shelter category, so it very much is considered essential service. With that being said, people...
I got a question.
Yes.
What isn't an essential service?
I know. It's kind of almost a joke, really.
There's like 36 categories of businesses, and each category has like a dozen businesses in that category. So unless you're not part of the lucky 600...
I mean, no matter what it is, it's essential to you, I'm sure. So, that's what's disappointing.
Well, I'm in construction. So.
I mean,
for
here's
the person,
the thing,
right?
and I said this, a month ago now?
Mm-hmm.
If they would just shut everything down except for medical and grocery for 2 weeks, I mean, even grocery, they could theoretically shut it down for 2 weeks, give you advance notice, say stock up on your meds, stock up on your food. Everything's going to be shut down except for hospitals for 2 weeks.
Where will I get my fresh artichokes?
That's kind of like, unfortunately, people like Pat George would end up sleeping at the station, right? Because he couldn't leave.
I'm doing that now.
Yeah. He's actually doing traffic for multiple stations there at Beasley Group at this point. Cause,
there should be no traffic.
Well, people have had to shift around and there was a horrible accident on I-75 the other day. Did you see that? I don't even know what that was.
Was that in Northport? Because when I was coming back from...
No. No, she's talking about the chase that started in Georgia and came down through Gainesville, went all the way of wreck at I-75 because of that and wound up at the entrance ramp southbound I-4 eastbound to southbound 75, where it was a standoff for 5 hours with a triple murder suspect.
Oh, my gosh. I had no idea.
I just go through all of Georgia and down to Tampa.
Well, he was driving a fast car. It's a 120-mile-an-hour chase on I-4 and 75, and it was just a mess. And it was all about an abduction of a 2-year-old baby.
Oh.
Wow. All right.
The baby wasn't in the car, was it?
Oh, yeah. When he crashed on 75 at southbound at I-4 there, somehow he opened the door, let the baby get out, and they had the baby, but he was in the vehicle with a gun for like 4 or 5 hours.
That is awful. Really.
And it messed up the interstate. That's what it was. I don't know. Yeah. You have a guest on the phone.
We do, and we're going to get to him, so just hang tight, David. I want to cover just a couple real estate things really quick to answer Leo's question and to cover the things we're seeing in the market. Then we're going to roll to David Ball and talk about small businesses and what you guys can do to get some extra help. We're going to try to dive into that pretty deep and give you some information. With regards to what we are doing, so it's what a lot of other businesses are doing that are considered essential. If we are in properties, we are wearing masks, we are wearing gloves, we are wearing booties. We are trying not to touch anything at all. And when we are touching things like knobs and stuff, even with gloves, are being desanitized behind us when we leave. And so today I actually have 4 properties that I'm going to be going to that are going to be listing. And it's going to be, and 3 of them have tenants in it, so that should be fun. And there was 2 others I was supposed to get in that had tenants and didn't allow me to come in. So we're going to work with what we got and move with that accordingly. But
the quality of photos on Zillow is going to go down tremendously during this time.
Actually, it's going to go up on the ones you
think
can
so?
get in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be a big separation between what's out there and what's not. Like it's going to be like boom, all full package, all kinds of stuff, or
3D
nothing.
or
Yeah.
or Google Earth.
It's almost going to be all or nothing, really.
Yeah.
Hey, Google Earth on commercial, I mean, like some of them you can enter into businesses, so you could do it.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
You like on the new office property that we purchased, if you go to the next door neighbor, which is a Spanish grocery mart, and you use Street View, you can actually click, and you can go right in the store.
That's incredible. Wow.
cool.
By the way, how's your new building going?
No idea. I'm tied up in permitting.
Okay. Like many others
Yeah,
at this
I applied
point, right?
for permitting on March 9th. They've lost my paperwork 3 times, which is amazing because we've uploaded it to a digital system, but they still managed to. Someone's going in there and deleting it.
Seems difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we uploaded it. There's proof we uploaded it, but they still don't have it. They're like, we
Wow.
lost it. I'm like, I uploaded it.
One other thing that we got too, and those are on order, they should be in, I think, literally this weekend, is we bought portable hand washing stations.
Ooh.
And so we're going to put it in order of priority on our listing. So the ones that are obviously occupied, we'll get those first. And then as they go under contract, those will be moved. You know, because usually when inspectors and that sort of stuff come in, they're going to have their own stuff, right?
Is that the portable hand washing station? Is that
Yes.
the thing that I have to step
You
on?
pump.
The water comes out.
Yeah.
It's not potable, and I kind of do one of these numbers,
Yep.
and I get soap all over the place, and there's not enough water for me to get the soap off, and then there's nothing to dry my hands with.
No, there's a little paper towel holder thing.
Man, you've been traumatized by one of these
I know.
before,
Yeah,
it seems.
He's
you know,
like
you-
freaking out about it.
It's like
It sounds like a
Red
bad camping
Red
weekend.
Fair or a concert. I'm like, do I use the soap and have sticky, clean hands, or do I not use the soap and have dirty hands like everyone else?
It sounds like a bad camping weekend,
It
honestly.
was terrible.
All right.
Was my rant a little ranty there?
No, it's
Always.
fine. It's fine.
Let's talk about the market really quick. So this week, we're starting to see tiny bit of shift in the numbers. Remember how?
What week is this? these
So
numbers
this is the second week, and we'll have to go back and pull our live recording to get the last week's one because it was thrown away. But this is today, which is what, April 3rd? Yeah,
Yes,
April
all
3rd.
day.
Yesterday I was supposed to go on my cruise. Remember, I was not supposed to be here with you guys today.
Oh, goodness.
Technically supposed to be on the cruise. Anyway,
Happy birthday, Chris.
to hubby, yeah, a couple days is his birthday. It's a big 50. Can you believe it? He's going to be 50. He's an old man. Anyway.
So this is pre or post March 11th?
This is today. Right now, this is a market watch today for Pasco, Pinellas, and
Hernando.
Hillsborough?
Hillsborough County. Thank you, Adam. It's one of those mornings already.
Wait, Hernando has fought hard and lobbied
Don't
with
start with
GTAR
me.
to be
and
included
I,
in the
yeah,
Tri-County
well, then
area.
they need to play nice in the sandbox and get on the same MLS as the rest of us, and they are not. So we're shutting that conversation down right now. Okay. So the new.
Hernando must have spent 2/3 of their entire budget on this marketing campaign.
Okay, so my question
Which
for
is
you, though,
$20.
I think what it comes down to is, okay, if you travel and you're trying to tell somebody where you're from, how far out is that radius for where you say, oh, I'm from Tampa, right?
Well, technically, I mean, when you look at the Florida Realtors numbers, it is considered the 4-county area, right?
Right.
And people say they're from Tampa. A lot of times that could range down even Sarasota.
Right.
But those are not included in our in this particular market watch. So we
Right.
do have data for those areas. We do serve those areas, including Polk, Hernando, Manatee. We serve all of those counties, but they're not included for this particular market watch that we're going to talk about because it is the bulk of our demographic audience.
As much as I pick on Pasco County, you're doing the same thing to Hernando right now.
Don't start with me, Leo. Enough. Okay? Really. Enough.
Man, that and the hand washing stations, you're really got
I
it
know.
this
He's
morning.
on fire today. All right.
Hernando,
Do you want to know how many new listings hit the
I
market?
want to
or
know.
what?
I'm
wanna
very
know.
curious. How many new listings
Okay.
do we have? How many potential homeowners
So
policies am I
in the
selling?
last 7 days, 3 counties, every company, every real estate agent, everybody that posts a multiple listing, 1,134 new listings.
That is pretty good.
Now, the number of sold listings, 1,565. So that's that lagging indicator, right, that we talked about, Leo, how there's that 45 days delay. We get the information from Florida Realtors. That's why we're pulling it ourselves and talking about it on the air. So this stuff closing right now are things that went under contract in probably maybe February. And the number of pending home sales, 1,083. So it's down a little from our 1,135 because those, remember, have been neck and neck. We've been watching them. They've literally been neck and neck. Temporary off the market, 325 is another one to look at. And price decreases are through the roof, 1108. All right, this is Tampa Home Talk. Our author number, 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775. When we come back, we're talking to David Ball, the West Shore Financial Group.
Champion of Hernando County is here in studio with Adam Talley, who I guess you won Hillsborough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have to.
Very old Hillsborough. And Katrina is all Pasco. So we need someone representing Pinellas. Maybe David Ball from the West Shore Financial Group. You on the phone?
David, are you with us?
Yes.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. We're all picking counties. I picked Hernando. Adam's got Hillsborough. Katrina's got Pasco. Do you want Pinellas?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. You're the champion of Pinellas County, so you have to say pro Pinellas County things in the next segment. But you are from West Shore Financial Group in West Shore Financial. That sounds like Tampa.
That is Tampa.
That is Tampa.
That is Tampa. Hillsborough. I don't solicit business in Pinellas.
Close to the bridge, though.
Close to the bridge. Very close to the bridge. You're the champion of
Yeah.
Pinellas County in the bridge. So you're with West Shore Financial Group, and you're here to talk all about small businesses. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a financial rep at West Shore Financial. I specialize in working with business owners and small businesses and white-collar professionals that do work in the Bay Area in Tampa Bay.
So are you a lender, or are you working with them on an accounting side? How are you helping the small businesses?
So I do that through planning and protection. So people will come in if they own a business, and we'll sit down. We'll go through protection for them, cash flow design. What happens if they can't go to work because they got into a car wreck? Who pays the overhead for the business? Business succession planning, stuff like that.
I got a question. I've always wanted to ask a financial planner this. What's the difference between self-employed versus being in a business? I feel like if I'm owning a business and I'm working 16 hours a day, I might as well just be self-employed. But what's the difference?
Yeah. So, self-employed versus owning a business really comes down to how you're set up in your business, right? So if you have like a sole proprietorship or an LLC or something like that, the IRS recognizes you as self-employed. You're not classified as an entity. You're just a pass-through for income. So if I had a pressure washing company and it was Dave's Pressure Washing LLC, and then I drove my truck around and I did pressure washing and stuff like that, I'm really self-employed, and I'd be able to write off certain things from my taxes, and all that money would pass through to me, versus like if I was a corporation like an S Corp or a C Corp, I'm actually paying two different taxes, right? I'm paying my corporate tax first, and then I'm paying my personal taxes at a different rate once funds are distributed to me from the business account, and that can be done through like a K1 schedule or payroll. So I have some clients that even though they're in practice by themselves, what we end up doing is we have them set up payroll that comes to them every 2 weeks. And then we have like a profitability bucket. So as money comes in, some of it's allocated to profit, and that's where they pay their quarterly taxes out of. And then the rest of the money that they need personally is actually paid to them from the business on a payroll service. And then their personal taxes are taken out immediately instead of doing it at the end of the year.
So what do you recommend if I was, let's say I wanted to go out and start a new business today? What do you recommend? What do you think's better for, a small business?
Budding entrepreneur?
Yeah, budding entrepreneur.
So it really depends on the type of business that you're providing and performing, what your business goals are, right?
business
So
goals
if you're going,
would be to make as much money as possible,
Adam,
right?
That's my business goal. What about yours?
Yeah, that's we try to be profit first.
We're all nodding here.
Yes.
We're for-profit businesses. Our business goal
Yeah.
is to make money.
Yeah. So with the profit first strategy, so when I say business goals, not, yes, everybody wants to make money. Some people want to have a legacy. They want to build a business that's self-sustaining so they can then sell that at some time in the future. And by selling that business, that ultimately funds their retirement. Some people want to build a business to legacy, right? They want to pass it on to their kids. And then some people want to just be self-employed. They don't want to work for anybody else. They only want to work for themselves. And they are basically going to work until they can't work anymore. So around those business goals and what they're trying to accomplish is how we set that up. So there's some businesses that are really owner dependent, right? If the owner's not there, then that business does not run. Those are good for things like sole proprietorships and LLCs and stuff like that. But if you look at like an attorney, for example, an attorney opens a practice, he's graduated law school, passed the Florida bar, worked for a corporate firm and said, I can do this on my own. He goes out and he opens up his own practice. Well, he's going to have some unique challenges that, other small business owners are not going to have. Number one being that only other attorneys can own that business. So there's no way for him to sell that business or pass that business on to like a surviving spouse or a child or something like that unless they're an attorney. In that same regard, he might go out and say, okay, I want to start, adding lines of business to what I do. I do personal injury, and now I want to add, tax law. Now I want to add family law. Now I want to add, estate planning, whatever it is. In that particular case, when they do that, they might want to then have it structured in a way that it's a corporation, a standalone entity, versus it just paying their bills, right? And that would perpetuate through time so they can build up those huge brands, absorb other attorneys and practices in different geographical regions, and build that out. So it really depends on how a person wants to do it. If a person wants to grow their business, have their business continue on after they pass away, or have the opportunity to sell their business at some point in the future, I would say for them, a C Corp or an S Corp or something like that is a good way to go. If somebody wants to just use the business as a means to generate income for themselves, then, I would say like an LLC is a good way to go because it protects them from a liability standpoint.
What about how do I transition from a sole proprietorship to a small business? Self-employed versus how do I take this? I'm self-employed, but I want a real business. How do I do that?
Can I ask a question more relevant to what's right now? Would you
Sure.
mind if I just intervene?
Fire away.
Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
Welcome back.
I'm curious, and it's all in perspective, right? Because the number of people in the United States now, I didn't pull the census numbers from then, I will. But technically right now the unemployment numbers are at Great Depression levels, right? We have less people in the U.S., so again, it's a percentage thing. But with that being said, I know people are going to create new opportunities and that sort of stuff. Businesses, of course, we'll see some that are not thriving are going to go under. But when you think about like the stuff they're talking about in the news with the loans and the grants and that sort of stuff for small businesses, what kind of help is out there and what is in the meat and the potatoes of that somebody should know about?
So that's a really good question. There's a lot of good information, a lot of good stuff out there right now. I was just on a call yesterday with about 40 business owners as part of a group that I meet with every week. And we spent a lot of time going over all that information for the CARES Act and small business loans and what's the difference between like the business loan and the grant, and then there's loans that are forgivable, and then there's loans that are not forgivable, right? So I would say for listeners out there, there's a couple of good places they can go to kind of see those processes laid out really nicely. One's going to be signalsaz.com, and it'll go through the different things that are available to them. So, like, it says on there, like, who is eligible for Paycheck Protection Program, and then it'll sit down and describe, it's got to be a business, a nonprofit, veterans, more than 500 employees, sole proprietors, independent contractors, which are like your 1099 guys, and self-employed individuals, right? And it'll tell you how that process works. Who do you get it through? So there's some that are partnered with, like, SBA, Small Business Association lenders, like local banks. I know Synovus Bank is doing that now, where they're a lender.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. We're coming up on a break right now.
Hey, Dave, and unfortunately we're out of time for this segment, but our off-air number if you want to get information or connect with Dave is 813-377-2775. Dave, send us that information. We'll post it on our Facebook page or text it out. 813-377-2775. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back in just a moment. Is Sarah on with us yet?
I'm on the line. I'm getting back-to-back phone calls from a phone number. Is your office calling me?
Probably.
I've gotten 5 back-to-back, and I didn't pick up because I have clients, sometimes do that, and I know I needed to call in.
As soon as I can wave her down and let her know that we have you, I will let her know, but I think she's listening to the live stream.
So, Sarah, let me get your opinion on something. Do you think that since you're driving a lot less and there's nowhere to go, you should get a discount on your auto insurance?
Katrina will tell you I deserve the biggest discount on the planet.
I don't think Leo knows Sarah very well.
So I will tell you, Sarah literally sold her car and bought a golf cart. Not kidding.
I did.
Oh, well, that's not an auto insurance policy.
How much is it to buy a golf cart if it's street legal?
If it's street
street
legal,
legal,
then it's like, I think...
it's insured. It's got a city sticker on it, the whole 9. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Because, it depends. So, down in Sun City Center...
I was going to say...
The street legal ones, you don't necessarily need to get a...
insurance?
To get, a normal auto policy. You can get, a regular, golf cart auto policy. But...
It's a recreational policy. It's almost similar to a motorcycle policy.
How much is your policy? Can I ask?
I would think a motorcycle policy would be through the roof for the health part.
My golf cart policy is about $200 a year.
A year?
Yeah.
There you go.
Sounds about right.
That's what we'll see a spike in golf cart sales.
Now, what I will tell you...
I drive a Prius. It's kind of like a golf cart, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't understand. It should be the same.
Bigger.
Now, what I will tell you when it comes to the mileage thing, and you'll see that their loss ratio goes down. So over time, the ones that want to gain more market share will lower their rates. But what I would recommend is see if your carrier has one of those, like Progressive has Snapshot, Safeco has Right Track, where it tracks your mileage, because obviously you're not driving as much, so the percentage will...
They also track your driving, so if they don't like it, they might cancel you.
Yeah, if you do a short stop.
But now's the time to do it, right?
Well, see, here's the thing. Some carriers also have what they call not in use, right? And I know, for me, we have 4 vehicles, and even though my son technically is a licensed driver now at 16, there's still only 3 drivers and 4 cars. And so our truck, the last one we had, literally before we traded it in, because it didn't even go in reverse, it was with the mechanic at one point for 6 months. We just left it there. So we literally we put it as not in use, and it was almost nothing to insure it. And then just called my carrier, which is different from my cars because I've had them forever. We talked about that. I can't afford to change policies having teenagers now.
Not with teenagers are tough. Teenagers are tough.
So anyway, with that being said, I was able to leave not in use for a long time, but you're saying most carriers are 30 days?
I didn't say that.
No,
but
I was questioning the
how long it'll go. But what I will say is one thing you could do is change it to pleasure use, because now you're working from home. You could see if you can sign up for one of those programs where they're tracking you. So those are some ways to get.
Bars are all closed. There's less
DUIs.
So Adam, that would be a great way for you to quote some new policies, right?
Yeah.
With people being
Absolutely.
at home.
Now's the time because we're going off of the data. Now, you need to change it when it changes.
When
But
the used car salesman said it's only driven by your grandmother to Publix and back on the weekends, that could actually be true.
it is actually true now. So those are good opportunities to kind of see some savings. I would say it's a good time to quote if you haven't gotten a quote in a while, just to see what's out there.
You should be already trimming your expenses. If you haven't done that, definitely do it right now.
Yes.
If you haven't, be proactive and do it right now, even if you still have your job. And then let Adam quote you a new policy. If you are at home, especially, perhaps you can find some different ways.
The worst thing that happens is you find out you got a good rate where you're at. There's no need to switch. So if you have any insurance questions, you can text or call us at 813-377-2775. Text insurance. Katrina will get you connected. And
Speaking of
Or Adam.
quotes,
Hey, I have a question. question for Sarah.
we need mortgages.
yeah, we need mortgages.
Sarah, I have a question. I've been really working on my credit score, and I am now up to a 520. Can I get a mortgage?
There's not a lender on the planet unless you're putting 40 to 50%
Pat,
down.
just jump in your sinkhole. Just jump in your sinkhole.
It's possible with a hard money lender or a private money lender, not in a mainstream conforming or non-QM market right now, no.
What does my rate have to be to get anything done nowadays?
Well, I've got a whole snapshot on that. We had a lot of changes happen this week. You ready for me to go over everything?
Yeah, pricing has been bizarre. Are you still seeing that? I definitely am waiting for this week's update.
Let's get Sarah.
So the Fed this week did purchase a little over $1 billion in commercial mortgage-backed securities, and they've committed to buy $3 more billion next week. So that's given us a little bit of fresh air in terms of pricing for conventional conforming loans. Okay, I actually did see rates improve for several different conventional scenarios yesterday afternoon. And that would include rate term refinances, cash out refinances, things like that.
Can you give us
in terms of
story on when you priced before you go?
Yeah. In terms of purchase transactions, the market is still very volatile, so borrowers are going to have a hard time raising their rate in order to create lender credits to cover their closing costs. Sellers may need.
Explain that to the person listening, because I know what you're saying, but that's Chinese to somebody listening.
Sure. So let's say that a borrower qualifies.
When you don't
Sure.
speak, how's that?
So let's say that a borrower qualifies for a 4.5% note rate, but they're a little shy in terms of coming up with all of their cash required to close on their purchase transaction. In a stable market, they can typically go to their lender and say, am I able to take a higher interest rate in order to receive credits that will be applied toward my closing cost? If a 4.5 rate, for example, note rate has no cost attached to it, no points or charges to the borrower, and let's say they raise their interest rate to 5%, that will actually generate credits that can then be passed to a buyer and help with their cash to close. The market is so volatile right now, borrowers are going to have a hard time doing that. Sellers are going to need to be prepared to help through seller concessions in that respect.
Well, the crazy thing is, in a normal market, when you're pricing it out and you're looking at a lender rate sheet, there's a little, normally you can pay a little bit to bump your rate down in an eighth, but we're seeing wide swings, almost 1%. And it's the difference between, Mike shared a story the other day where somebody just paid $1,200 to get a rate that was almost 1% lower than one that you didn't have to pay money to get. And that's odd. It doesn't usually price like that.
Doesn't make sense at all. We are starting to see that stabilize a little bit, and I'm looking for some good news to report to you next week as well. I do want to point something out where rates are concerned. There has been a surge of loans with the Fed buying MBS and then starting to lower interest rates.
What's MBS?
Mortgage-backed securities.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right?
Correct, yep. And so that gap is narrowing, where it was a huge spread between mortgage-backed securities and the 10-year Treasury. But the point being, the secondary market investors outsource file reviews, and a lot of cases to India, which is now on a shutdown due to COVID-19. So secondary investors anticipate now the timeline to purchase a loan off of an originator's warehouse or a lender's warehouse to be 30 days or more. So any origination company, i.e. a lender, that cannot sell directly to Fannie or Freddie may not be able to clear their warehouse line and have funds available for all of their closings by the end of April. Realtors should call their lenders to make sure they don't foresee any funding delays where that's concerned.
So what does that mean? If they run out of money in their warehouse line and they can't fund a transaction, you're in the middle of it next month, what does that mean?
Correct.
Does that mean they're going to have to wait a month? Does that mean
it means the funding will be paused? Correct, yes. So you want to make sure your lender is a direct seller.
They're delayed or not getting money from that lender?
They're going to pause funding. They're going to be delayed until they can sell off their warehouse line and receive new funds. It's a ripple effect based upon how fast it takes investors to sell off their warehouse line.
Does that make sense to you guys, or it's still different language?
I think I got it.
Okay.
If the lender is a direct seller to Fannie or Freddie, they should not anticipate that, but not all lenders are. So we just want to make sure that they're not foreseeing any funding delays. Summit Mortgage is a direct seller to Fannie and Freddie, but not every lender is.
Banks essentially buy money from the Federal Reserve to relend it, if that makes sense. And so most of those loans are going to pass through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which are those mortgage-backed securities she's talking about. They're kind of like the middleman that sells it off. So if you ever have had a letter in the mail that says, oh, by the way, your loan is changing hands to, go to
Loan
this bank.
or something like that,
I will
right?
tell you, Sarah just did a loan for me personally, and for the first time ever, I got a letter from Fannie Mae directly saying they were going to sell my loan. I've never seen that.
Interesting.
Is that new, Sarah, or is that like the normal?
And what's happening is if lenders can go direct to Fannie and Freddie, they're going to get better pricing, and it's just going to be an easier process. So no, that's the new normal on a temporary basis. And there are some underwriting guidelines that are changing that I'd like to go over as well.
Because again, government-backed securities, Fannie's getting the money directly from the Fed. Right?
Right. And looking for some more improvement next week when the Fed buys some more commercial mortgage-backed securities. So that's where we're at on pricing. With regards to underwriting, there are some changes going on. Typically in a mortgage transaction, when an initial disclosure package is signed, an application is made to a lender, one of the disclosures in that package is called a 4506T. A 4506T allows the lender to go directly to the IRS and verify the tax transcripts for any required years for a borrower. And basically what they're doing is they're verifying that the numbers on the tax returns provided for approval match the numbers that were actually filed with the IRS. So we get into a point this time of year where, for example, someone wants to use their 2019 tax returns to qualify. And we typically would say, okay, well, if you're just filing, we're not going to be able to get that transcript. So you should walk that into an IRS office and get it stamped, kind of to certify it true.
Are they open?
Nope, not open. No one has the ability to do that. And since the relief...
Apparently the IRS doesn't see themselves as essential services. I don't know.
Well, they're inundated right now. And then obviously for health reasons, their walk-in offices are not currently open. So, but beyond that... normally verification with a 4506T in order to receive a transcript is done electronically. The IRS is no longer honoring those right now. They're inundated with relief checks and things of that nature. So we are unable to order transcripts for any file currently.
So what does that mean? Because right now, or for years now, Florida has been considered a high-risk, high-fraud state. So they verify the tax returns to the IRS as the same as you gave to your lender. So are they doing that?
So Fannie and Freddie, they're all making provisions. They can't ask for something that can't be given. So we have the ability to close without tax transcripts, again, for the short term. I have heard in the last week when this announcement was made, some lenders are still trying to secure them by having the borrower log in online and try to obtain them.
All right, Sarah, hang on just a moment. We'll be be back right after this break. Welcome back.
Back to Tampa Home Talk. Yes.
Sarah Crickey joining us by phone from Summit Mortgage. And if you're just now tuning in, she's giving us an update all on what the rates are doing, what's happening behind the scenes with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, things that you are not going to see on the surface, probably stuff that the news isn't even reporting.
Yeah,
but it all matters if you're getting a loan.
Isn't reporting. I got some secret news that I'm going to wait patiently for my cue.
I can't believe we knew something before Leo.
That's common.
Can you believe it?
No. That's a teaser. Let Sarah do.
I'm just going to text him weekly and be like, here's your breaking news for the week.
All right, Sarah. Finish your thought
before the break.
So just a couple highlights on what we're seeing happen in terms of underwriting for mortgage loans. Again, the IRS is no longer honoring 4506T requests for tax transcripts. Fannie, Freddie, HUD, they're all making adjustments because they know they cannot be obtained, so we're still able to proceed there. You're going to see right now qualifying for a mortgage, even though FHA, for example, lends down to a 580 credit score with a 3.5% down payment, you're going to find that credit scores under 620 programs are going to be non-existent right now. Credit scores between 620 and 640 are kind of on life support right now and maybe challenging.
That's what they call the lender overlays, meaning FHA hasn't really changed their guidelines, but the lenders are saying we're not lending under these scores.
Right. It's a riskier book of business, in other words. So 620, 640 credit scores are on life support right now. There's a possibility that they may not be available soon. Layering of risk in terms of scenarios are going to be problematic. For example, I have a credit score that's less than 640. I have a debt ratio, which is my income versus my debt versus my new housing that's over 50%. And I have no savings. That would be a layer of risk that would be problematic right now. Non-QM loans, which are going to be your non-conforming loans that are qualifying on bank statements or how to
So that doesn't fit in the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac box.
Correct. Those non-QM loans are non-existent. We've seen jumbo basically go away. Verifications of employment.
Tom Brady actually rented Derek Jeter's house in Harbor Island.
I saw that.
Davis
Island.
Yeah. Sorry, Davis Island. Thank you. They're all right together.
Yeah. So one of the other things that we're seeing have to do with what are called verbal verifications of employment. Typically, an employment is verified on what's called a written verification of employment during the loan process, and then when we get within about 10 days of closing. We will call.
Sugarcoat it. They're calling the day of closing before they send that money.
Well, that's where I'm going. Yeah. So typically within 10 days of closing in a normal environment, we would call, short conversation. We've already verified the income at the beginning of the process. Is the employee still an active employee? That has changed. You're going to see that varies from one lender to the next. We're currently required to do that now within 3 days of closing. Some lenders are doing it on the day of funding and refusing to release the wire until it can be verified. So imagine that can be a little bit challenging for companies that are shut down and all of their employees are working remote.
I've got one right now, Sarah, and a seller we represent, not you. It's a different buyer, the different buyer agent and a different lender. And that's the only thing holding us up right now is they can't get the verification of employment. It was scheduled to close today.
Right. And so some lenders are implementing policies where they will accept email directly from the employer as long as the email is coming from a verifiable domain, like my domain is summit-mortgage.com type thing. Okay, they're accepting call-ins and things like that. But with people working remote, a lot of them are calling in. Employers are calling in from a cell phone or a line that's not an office line and it isn't verifiable. And so that's creating a little bit of havoc there on getting fundings done on time.
So are they making any exception on those, or what's the plan on those?
Not really. They're like I said, they've tightened.
Nobody in the office? They're not. What are they going to do? Verify it by email on a domain email?
Yeah, and so they'll give specific instructions. Reference the employee's name, they're currently active, their job title, that a reduction in hours is not anticipated. They all have a different series of questions, but a lot of them are accepting direct email just based on the current circumstances. And the verbal phone lines are jammed. You know, it's hard if an employer calls in to get a person on the phone quickly. But overall, you know, if they're not calling in from a verifiable phone number, an email would be the way to go.
All right.
Yep.
Well, okay, so real quick, share a scenario that you priced out this week to give the person an idea how rates are pricing based on a scenario you've looked at.
Happy to. I have one more thing I just want to mention, and I think you'll appreciate it, where appraisals are concerned. We're starting to see some change in that area where appraisers are not wanting to go into properties to do interior inspections. Fannie, Freddie, and HUD are making exceptions to this and allowing exterior-only appraisals as well as desktop-only appraisals for purchase transaction cases only. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Are you actually seeing that? Because I did see that come through the housing wire, but is that?
I'm seeing on my end when we make an appraisal request, it goes into a rotation of appraisers, obviously, and I'm seeing an appraiser see the order, grab it, comment, I'm willing to do a drive-by or an exterior only, and that's either acceptable or not, and if not, they move on to the next appraiser. So I'm seeing some already say, no, I'm not entering into a property, I'll do an exterior, and then some are still willing to do it, but bottom line is Fannie, Freddie, and HUD are making exceptions for that, not on cash-out refinances, but on but on purchase cases, simple refinances, reverse mortgages, rate term refinances, they are making the exception for the exterior-only appraisal, and desktop option is limited to purchase cases only. So then that leads you to, what if repairs are needed? Okay, and so for the exterior-only appraisal, the appraiser must identify any necessary, extraordinary assumptions based on just their limited scope of work, meaning what they can observe. If they see something wrong with the exterior of the house, or if they have known information about the property, they can call that out as a subject to report. Otherwise, they're making the report as is, based on what they observe and know with the limited scope of their research.
All right, Sarah Cricky with Summit Mortgage, thank you so much for the update this week. You want to spill the beans real quick? You want to wait till the next hour? Leo's disappointed. All right, 813-377-2775 if you want to see how your loan will price out or get some information on what's happening. 813-377-2775. We'll be back for hour 2 tomorrow.